Hey guys, this is just going to be a quick video. Some of you were sending me requests for updates on the California debacle, so I'm going to give you just some quick updates here. Um, I'm going to link in the description. Pugface put out a video earlier. I'll link it in the description for you, so you can go there and watch that. It gives a whole lot more information than I'm going to give here. Additionally, I would encourage you to subscribe to Pugface Media if you're not already, because the guy actually does good work out there. Um, he's out there trying to do it right. Does he make mistakes? Absolutely. Guess what? I made mistakes before too. All right, it's the nature of the beast. All right, so the of all the people that were grabbed up last PM, only two have been held. That is Doug and I'm working from memory. Man, I should have kept the note here and I didn't do it. Um, Man, old age is a bitch. Hold on a second. Ah, I gotta look at my phone. Give me just a second. I can't believe. Sometimes, this is what happens when I try to do something quick instead of being prepared. AV Watchman. Man, I can't believe I couldn't remember that. AV Watchman and Doug were retained and charged with. It's still kind of in flux here, but it appears charged with criminal trespass and felony threats. All right, the felony threats are based on something that occurred in the video from the night before. Something about harassing the ambulance drivers. Now, I haven't had a chance to look at that video very closely. I did a quick view on it, and I saw that they were, giving the guys grief verbally. They weren't blocking anybody or precluding anyone from working, so I'm not sure where that's come from. This may also be, like I said, details are still a little sketchy. It is possible that this is another COINTELPRO operation out of the Fusion Center, all right, where they posted threatening comments or had a officer make threats to the hospital or something along those lines in order to generate a criminal charge against certain individuals that were there and humiliated the hospital by showing what they did. There is a false propaganda story being put out by the hospital that this whole thing was faked. Okay, well, if it was faked by the hospital because they had hospital personnel are the ones that dumped this lady out on the parking lot out of the wheelchair. It had nothing to do with the videographers. They just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Pugface is out there. He is going to be your point of contact, and he'll tell you who to donate to for bond. I hope they're not using High Desert, but they do what they do out there. Those guys are going to need bond money. The bond is going to be somewhere between $5,000 and $50,000, and I'm guessing, given the nature of the charge, it's going to be on the higher end, and that's times two. Not Pugface. Man, what a day! What a day! Doug and AV Watchman are each charged. Okay, they're going to have attorney fees. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking up for them on the trespass thing. I'll get to that in just a second. All right, but this other charge, this terroristic threat charge, is bull. It's total bull. So they're going to need help with that. They're also going to need money for a lawyer. Okay. Pray to God they don't hire the Hemmings. I can't believe that. All right, I'm not getting into that. All right, as for the trespassing, all right, I'm going to put it to you this way. There are people taking me to task over this, saying, "Oh, it's a public hospital. It's publicly accessible. You know, etc., etc., etc." So the White House is publicly owned. Can you just walk into the White House? Can you walk on even the White House grounds? No. How about your state capitol? You know, certain areas of it you can walk into, but can they remove you? Can they trespass you? Absolutely they can. Understand. Yes, this is public property. And at times it may even be publicly accessible. All right? But once they close and lock the doors at 5 o'clock, if they catch you in there at 8 o'clock at night, what are they going to do? They're going to charge you with trespassing. Maybe burglary. I don't know. Depends on what you're doing. We have public property. It is owned by the public via the government. We employ people and we give them the power to maintain and oversee that property. Okay? That's where the quagmire comes in. As a whole, as you know, as a society, we have put these public servants in charge of the property. Okay? So you don't get to run amok on the property simply because it's public property. There are still rules and guidelines and policy that they have created that applies on the property. Is it constitutional? Challenge it in court and find out. That's the best thing I can tell you. Is it right? I don't always agree with it, but as a society, we've come together and said this is how we're going to do it. My personal opinion is public property, we should be able to walk all over it. No, not get trespassed. As long as you're not tearing up the property or, you know, breaking things or killing people while you're there, you know, but just to walk in and look and see and take pictures and everything, I think that we should be able to do that. That's not the case, though. So the other gentlemen that were snatched up, Pugface amongst them, they were cuffed and stuffed and held and threatened with arrest, told they were under arrest, and then eventually they were released and told that they had actually just been detained. So there's a lot of case law on what is a detention and what is an arrest. Lawyers argue about what is a detention and what is an arrest every day. So I'm not an expert on it. If these guys think that they were wronged, they certainly have every right to drag these officers into court and see what they can make of it. And I invite them to do that. What is my opinion? Based on what I know, my opinion is that these officers are going to first claim they didn't know who was who. They had authority to arrest 2 of the individuals, so they needed to grab up everybody to figure out who those 2 individuals were. So they're going to claim that that was the purpose of the detention and how they misspoke when they said that those individuals were under arrest. Not that it matters, because cops can lie. The detention was a bit prolonged. I believe he said he was in the back of the patrol car for about 50 minutes. 20 minutes would be about typical for an investigatory detention. However, I think that the officers are going to be able to justify it, again, based on they're trying to determine who's who. Now, there are some things that I did have some issues with. Terry frisk. Okay, investigatory detention allows a Terry frisk. They get to search or feel you. Hey, they get to feel you up. No, they get to pat you down, all right, and feel of your pockets in search of weapons. They don't get to go in your pockets looking for your ID. Now, California, you don't have to identify yourself until you're being booked. So if these guys won't ID, the cops don't know who's who. They don't know what they're going to do. What do? They went in, got their wallets, got everything else out of their pockets, and got their IDs out of their wallets. Why are you carrying your IDs? Just a thought. I do have a serious issue with that. That is something that definitely should be made an issue of in court. Um, but again, that's all going to be up to them and all of that. Um, I think I may have given the wrong impression last night in my video that I'm not supporting these guys. That is absolutely not true. I do not support trespass when you've been warned to get out of there. Okay? You got a public sidewalk 20 feet away. You can get the same message across from there as you can from being on their property. I have an issue with that, and I'll, at a later date, take that issue up with these gentlemen. I don't have an issue with these other charges because they're BS. Based on what I know, based on what I've seen, they're BS, and I believe that it is a COINTELPRO counterintelligence operation being run by the government to shut these guys down. It's either run by the government or some local law enforcement agency out there. Local law enforcement there is in tight with the hospital, and the hospital administrator was actually riding with deputies when these arrests occurred. So that should tell you something. It's definitely a conflict of interest out there. So link in the description for Pugface Media. Go over there and look at his video update, and you know, look at the situation, see what you think, and if you can find it in your heart to donate and help these guys out. Let's not leave these guys in cages. I tell people all the time, my ultimate goal is to see that nobody ends up in a cage. When you're in their hands, okay, when an auditor or a civil rights activist is in the hands of the government, sitting in that jail, your life is in danger, because they have free reign to retaliate any way they want, and nobody's going to help you, nobody's going to protect you, and nobody will ever know. I say this all the time. When one of us is sitting in their jail, your life is in danger. So keep that in mind. Go look at the videos, and y'all be safe. I'll see you again soon.